Hi, Maud here, and again an overview of my craft room, because some of you who have seen previous videos of my craft room might notice that I have changed a couple of things. There are no longer all the books that I hoarded. I must confess, I hoarded quite a lot of old books. I did not get rid of them. They're just in a different room in boxes at the moment. And what I've taken out is all my fabrics. And here are a lot of old doilies and Dutch folklore fabrics. And here is a little basket of leftovers. I have a pile of magazines that I have been going through. I have my embroidery floss here, an old painting that I found in the thrift store, and I am designing in a journal. And there are more fabrics and scraps and my old sewing machine and my dollhouse. I gave it a new place in my craft room because I want to work on it, but I want to feel the love for it again. And up here I have my favorite journals that I made, and also a couple of paintings that I did and I want to work on, but I'm not sure where I want to go with them yet. The slanted desk has nothing new. But behind me, there are also a few baskets of sewing notions, threads, perlé threads, I think, and silk threads, and all kinds of things that I like to work with. And my papers are here. I don't discard my papers, and I'm still going to work with my papers. But for the moment, I am playing. That's my word for 2022. And I am exploring all the things that come up. And also, I hope I don't make you dizzy, I have dressed this Blythe doll in, well, she's got new clothes. I knitted a little sweater for her, and also I took apart an old dress of mine that was torn and I wanted to have something to do with it. But let me flip this camera around and tell you a little bit more of what I did in January and what my plans are. I don't have real set in stone plans, but there are some things that I like to explore and I want to tell you about them. So, oops, hope I don't make you seasick, but I will flip the camera around and everything will be. So those of you who have been following me on Instagram also know that I had a play date with a whole pack of air dry clay. And I made this tree trunk that can hold a candlestick, but also my incense sticks. And I also made this mushroom. And this is completely delicate and probably won't last a lifetime because, well, air dry clay, it's not really sturdy, but I might, because I really like this mushroom, excuse me, I might do this in polymer clay, but for now this works fine. And I needed a candlestick holder for these really thin candles that I found in the thrift store, and I bought like maybe 100 of these in this pale blue, in black, and in pale pink. And because there was much clay left, I also played around in making leaves, and I made a holder for everything. Just the clay that I have left, and I have put a doily in there. I just rolled it out in there, and it gives this beautiful texture that I'm really happy with. So I have everything together here, and yes, it is woodland themed again, because I find that woodland themes are something that I can't get rid of. Well, I don't want to get rid of it. I love it. And this is something that I treasure so much. I did not grow up on a farm, but when I was 8 years old, we moved to a provincial town, and we lived on the right edge of that town. And I was always going to the farms and playing in the fields. And there was this farm, kind of looked like this one, where this older elderly couple lived. And as children, we were allowed to help the farmer and his wife with collecting eggs. And yeah, of course, we did not look after the piglets, but we could watch the piglets being born, and oh, we had such a good time. And the farmer's wife also taught me how to string beans and how to collect peas from the pea pods, and how to clean Brussels sprouts. My mother, she hated cleaning Brussels sprouts, so I did not learn from my mom, but I learned from this farmer's wife. And really, I had such a good time growing up in the fields and in the farmland, really. That was my haven to go to. I loved it. And I was the odd girl who was always going around the hedges looking for little treasures. And also, I buried some treasures underneath favorite trees. I don't know why I did that, but there was something inside of me that had the need to do that. So I feel really connected to farmland, and I'm really lucky, that we got to live in a rural area now. And these farms have nearly all gone, or they are restored to modern standards. But in some of the museums in the Netherlands, we have these, what we call open air museums. There are still these farms, and I love to go to these museums. And I'm hoping that when COVID ends, we can visit those museums again. This painting is an oil painting. It is really special to me, but I only paid €4 for it. It will be in my craft room from now. And it kind of led me to another thing, and that is that I want to explore more things from the Netherlands of my childhood. And then I found these cards, and I was looking through them, and every card signifies a period of my life. I was born in this place called Zeist. When I was born, it was a small village, a Catholic, but also a Steiner, a Waldorf kind of village. I mean, there were a lot of people that were Catholic, but also lived the ideas of Rudolf Steiner. There were schools, Waldorf schools, there were Waldorf toy shops, and I told you already on Instagram that I believed in fairies for a ridiculous long time. But that was not strange. That was something that more children did. So I grew up in Zeist until I was 8 years old, and then we moved to Amersfoort, which is also in the province of Utrecht. Amersfoort is a medieval town. It has beautiful buildings, but we lived on the edge of Amersfoort. So I was more a countryside girl than a town girl. I went to school in Baren. Dutch people will know this, still a village. And it is on, really forest grounds. It's a beautiful village. It's a really rich village. But I went to school there, and lots of my family also lived in Utrecht. So I also know that town really well. Also a really old city and famous for canals like Amsterdam, but it is smaller, obviously. And well, these cards, and there's more things of the Netherlands. And at the moment, I live in Friesland. I have to get the other cards. I don't live in any of these towns. Leeuwarden is where my husband is born. So I have a connection to Leeuwarden because of my husband, and my in-laws all live in Leeuwarden. But for my husband and me, this town already, because it's kind of a provincial town. If it's not really that big, but we like to go there, but we always like to go home again. Franeker is a beautiful place, but we don't visit it often. Sorry. Snake with this is a waterway into Snake. It's still there. It's beautiful. We go there sometimes. And Harlingen, that is a place that my hubby loves to go and walk along the seashore. And the other towns of the Netherlands are all in here, but I don't have a strong connection to these towns. But then again, they are in the Netherlands, so maybe it is interesting for me to explore some things about them. But what I'm thinking about is making a junk journal again about places that I grew up in, that I'm happy at. And so that's something I am thinking about at the moment. And that for me is playing around and finding all kinds of new things to do. What I also did is I took out a bunch of books that were already in my possession. And this book, I don't know if you know this lady, she still has a really popular website, and this book is a compilation of all the blogs that she did. She used to blog about her life and her thrift store love and all the things she made from all the thrift store finds, and I have followed her for a really long time. And today she is embroidering woolen objects, and she has a store together with her son. She is in the US, so if you are interested and you look Dottie Angel up, I bet you can find her. I have a Pinterest board called I Like Dottie Angel, so if you want to see more or want to explore about her, that is easy. And these books are from my own possession, and I have bought these at craft fairs or found them in the thrift store. I know this one came from a craft fair, and it is a book about crazy quilting. Something I really like but haven't done in a really long time. then there's also these, and I bought these when I was a doll designer, and I wanted to be inspired by other artists who worked with felt. And this is not exactly with felt, but with fabrics, and I made some of these things in felt and gave them to friends, so, but still something I like. This is all kind of stitches. It says the big embroidery book, het grote borduurboek in Dutch. And there are all kinds of embroidery, inspirations in here. And I love these, let me get it in frame. I love these old photos, and these are the books that I won't cut up for junk journaling. I mean, well, just look at this one. Isn't this beautiful? These are samplers, embroidery samplers. Oh, look at her. Oh, and I love these dresses. Oh, just imagine the amount of work that went in here. I think all these flowers are done by hand, but oh, look at her happy face. Oh, I love this. But I've been looking through these books and being really happy about them again. This is a book I found in the thrift store, and again, it's about embroidery and all kinds of things that I like. Hours, here it says uren borduren, which means hours of embroidering. And this is also a book with lots and lots of examples of things you can do, and really interesting. And I treated myself, whoops, to also new stitching books. And this is by the artist Cas Holmes. I did not know her before I found these books, but she is a really, well-known artist. And well, I showed these books on Instagram, and some of you have said, well, this looks really interesting. Well, it is completely interesting. And these books, they feel like velvet. They feel like fabric. They are so, so beautiful. This is another one by Cas Holmes, Textile Landscapes. I'm really interested in doing more landscape things. I've been exploring my, I showed you that in the last video that I did. I've been exploring kind of the brown land that we have at the moment in a lot of places in the Netherlands, and the grey skies above it, because, well, January has been one of the darkest months in like 100 years. So I find these things really interesting, and whether to do them in fabric or in painting, this is something that inspires me. And then I have this one, Sketchbook in Explorations. Well, this is interesting if you are a mixed media artist, but also for us junk journalers, because there's a lot of things in here that we junk journalers love. And oh, look at this. Oh, wouldn't you like a page like this in your junk journal? Oh, whether it be with stitching or just painting or gluing things down. Oh, this is one of my go-to books if I want to if I want some more inspiration. And then I have this, Textile Travels, and I saw this cover, and I just saw the cover online. It is about many, many things, and I was happy to find a dollhouse in there also. But it is also something that we as junk journalists would get some real inspiration from. And also maps. I'm always interested in maps, and really nice to see other artists do things with maps. So that was something that I really was interested in. And then one of you mentioned the books that Sarah and Rachel from Roxy Creations are making. The let me just the journals of stitchery, and I was so inspired, and I tried out one page. That's the page for January that they did, and I made this in a week, and I don't feel like I can make videos on this because it's their project. So if you see this for the first time, I will link both their channels from Roxy's Creations by Sara and Rachel down below, of course. And I was taken away, blown away by what they did, and that's why I have all my old fabrics and all my old things out, because I want to have a go at this. I want to have a play, and that's why I started this book, embroidery patterns, doodles, and a workbook for ideas. I also worked out what I wanted to do with the things that Peggy sent me, the challenge that we did. That was my latest video. I'll link that down below, of course. Also, I did some doodles for what I wanted to embroider. And sometimes I do these doodles and I embroider something completely different, like I did with the zipper. Because, well, I've drawn this with the zipper, which was absolutely lovely, but try gluing a zipper down like this and that won't work. And then I decided to write what I wanted to do with the inspiration of Roxy's Creations. And I wanted to make Maud's journal of patchwork and stitches because, well, I also want to do patchwork because I've done a lot of patchwork already. And I wrote down all the pages that I wanted to do because I have so many things that I would like to do. I have recently bought some sari fabrics and sari trims from Sheila at Boho Dreams. I will link her account down below also. Well, I've done this page. I've done a couple of journal covers that I made into TNs. I will get them and show them to you later. And this is all the pages that I would like to do. I would like to do a page in felt because that was my original love. I would like to do something in really old cottons. I would like to do something in silks and sari silks because I've got a lot of sari silks and I've got a lot of silk. And I want to make a page from old clothes of mine. I want to do something in what is this called? The folklore dresses, because I have collected a lot of fabrics from old folklore dresses in the Netherlands. I want to do a white and off-white page just with all these. I've got these colors. I've just found these a while ago, and I want to work with these. I want to use lace and doilies. I want to use Japanese quilt fabrics because I've got them. I want to use everything in turquoise because that's one of my favorite colors. I want to do something that is crocheted and knitted because I've got so much knitwear that it's worn, but I want to do something new with it. I want to use my original quilt fabrics. I want to do a stitch sampler. I want to do a title page. So I've already started my title page, and I want to do something with hand-dyed fabrics. And here are ideas that I can use to make these pages. I want to do a crazy patchwork style, so that's why I got my books out. I want to explore the style of the Roxy Creations sisters, and that's what I'm doing now because I love their style. And well, to learn something new, I think it is okay to copy what somebody else is doing, as long as you give them the full credit. I mean, I can't take the credit of the things that I just showed you. It's their creation. But I want to do something in the style of my doll making. I want to just do whatever comes up in my mind. I want to use old blankets or old pieces of old things that I made. I want to do figurative, and I want to do abstract, and I want to, because I'm taking classes by Lali Mill, I want to try translating what I learned from her in mixed media and try to use that in my needle art. I want to do slow stitching, but I also want to do freehand stitching on my sewing machine, and that's why I changed my room around also, and my sewing machine is in a better place. And I also want to do mixed media. And I wrote myself a little reminder: remember to play and no time pressure. And I will do some things of the challenge of Roxy Creations, but only when I feel like it. I mean, I'm way behind of everybody else, and that is totally fine. I just want to do what I like when I when I feel like it, and that is my goal for 2022. I want to give myself even more permission to play. So this is already something I want to work with on a page. This is from Friesland. I think this is a compilation of folklore dresses, but I really like it because the boats also are something that is really something special for this province in the Netherlands, because there's a lot of water here. And I have designed a title page for my Maud's Journal of Patchwork and Stitchery. I love designing, and I am back in designing again, and I really like that. And this is what I got so far. I've been working on this for a couple of days now. I have my background, and like Rachel explained, I did the tacking of the fabric, and I really love how she explains everything. I did not have a doily that could fit on here, so this is old doily. No, not old doily, but this is a really old fabric, and this is a trim that I already had for over 25 years, and I could never use it because it curls naturally, but it works perfectly on here. And then I have already cut out my my little deer in felt, and I just drew him on here, really plainly, and I've made a more intricate design that I want to embroider on this little felt piece. And also, before I started looking at the fabrics I wanted to use, I was looking at my old junk journals, and these were the colors that I used in my junk journals that I really loved. So I put them together in this basket, and then I did some samples of them, trying to see what colors that I like together. And that is the kind of way that I love to work. Getting all these fabrics together, they really inspire me, and yeah, I love these colors and I want to do more in these colors. And I also made this felt mat because I've got so much felt and this is so beautiful to work on. I will put some photos here of what is in between here because I had this horrible orange as you can see. And I've blanket stitched everything on here. And also my pin cushion is getting a lot of love again. This pin cushion was made by me, designed by me in 2012, and I made a red and purple one then. And this one I made in 2013. It's still on here in silver embroidery thread, but it's almost faded. And look, when I take this leaf up, this was the original color, but it has faded over, well, almost 10 years now. And there's even a little hole in there because there was a moth in here. But yeah, I love that I can use this one again. And this is the kind of crazy patchwork that I like. And I might do that in felt. I might do that in different fabrics. I'm not sure yet, and it doesn't matter. I just want to play. And here is my little fairy helping me, and she's also playing with her little fabrics, and she's got a dress made out of fabric scraps. And yeah, I love that she's on my desk now again. And I also wanted to show you some little pouches that I made a really long time ago. This one is inspired by my favorite island in the Netherlands called Texel. And Maureen, if you're watching, I think you immediately saw that this was Texel. I made these little sheep and I did them with all these really finely embroidered French knots. I did this on the back. This was inspired by Mavor, who is also a felt artist that I follow on Instagram. And Michelle, my friend in the US, hi sweetie, she met somebody who was a neighbor of Mavor. So, oh, the world is a small place these days. And this one I did also in felt, but I crocheted these little flowers from this hand-dyed yarn that I bought at a craft fair. And I would love to crochet these little flowers again and use them in my work. And I also crocheted this edge with a really fine crochet needle hook. This is like a 0.5 millimeters. And yeah, that's something I would like to do again. All things that get new love, and that's something that I really like. But now let me get the journal covers that I wanted to show to you. And I will pause the video here for just a second. So here are the journal covers that I made quite a long time ago. I did not make a video about this because I was experimenting, and this is the kind of crazy quilting that I really like, and using lace and using beads. And I have stamped this dragonfly onto this felt and I've colored it in. And that is something that I might explore even more, taking stamps and stamping them on fabric, and then using all kinds of mediums to paint the fabric. So this is a journal that I finished, but I keep it because I absolutely love it. This is a journal that I made, and I finished it but never worked in it. So the cover is done in silks and trims, and I like it, but I don't feel like working in it. So that's all these things in here, and I might go through them once with you, but I don't know why, but I don't feel like working in this journal. But for now, it's about the covers and not about the journal itself. Let me put these two aside. And then there's these two covers that I also made quite a long time ago. So again, this is crazy quilting, and with a lot of silks, and it's a really, really old, it was a kind of doily, but with fabric. And I think this is hand crocheted. And on the inside, it's just this fabric. And there's these elastics already in there, but I don't know what I want to do with this yet. And for now, it just sits in my stash. And then there's this one, and this one is completely machine stitched, which is also fine. I've used this for a while, but yeah, it doesn't get much love at the moment. And well, there's just this blank journal inside. But what I also found was something that I wanted to show you, that I made a really long time ago and have not finished yet. This bag of sewing notions was in there. This is from a Japanese book, and I followed the instructions, and I followed a course in Japanese quilting. And look, I've quilted this by hand, and this was done, I think, 15 years ago, when my hands were really able to do really fine stitching and beautiful work. And all these fabrics, most of them, are old shirts from my hubby, and I worked them in here. And this obviously was a quilting fabric. And this is the back side. This is supposed to be a handbag. I don't know if I want to turn this into a handbag, but it is in my stash, and maybe I will use this or part of this to make a page for the Journal of Patchwork and Stitchery. Oops. So how about if I cut this out, and I would have a lovely beginning for a page. I'm not sure what I want to do with them yet, but I found them again and I was like, oh yeah. So I have many of these projects that need some tender love and care again. And then there's this one, and I made this when my son was about 2 years old, and I wanted to make a cover for my sewing machine. And these were the go-to colors of me back then. When I found it, I was like, oh, okay, that is bright. But I still have these little, what are they, buttons. So I think I might finish this up, because I wanted to make a little cottage, and I want to embroider this some more and do flowers on here. But yeah, let me embroidered this with all these small buttons that I still have, and I still have these buttons, and I loved what I did here because this is loose, and I needle turned everything. I did not work with raw edges back then. I was a really neat seamstress, and this is all done by hand. Everything is done by hand, and yeah, I think this needs some love, and I think, yeah, it's a good thing perhaps to turn this into the cottage that I wanted to make to cover my sewing machine. So this was a really long show and tell of everything that I'm up to at the moment. So if you were wondering what I did in January, well, you might have guessed it by now. I have been rather busy, but I could not make any videos because, well, this is a kind of, yeah, exploration that I need to do for myself, and I can only tell you about it once I've done it, really. But maybe I could do these videos once a month of what I did over the month and where I'm at. 2022 is going to be a year of play for me, and I don't know where it is going, but oh yeah, one more thing. I also found these, and these are doilies that I made myself, just playing around with my crochet hook when I was in the garden. And wouldn't it be nice to do these in miniature? Yeah. So there's so many things. Oh, guys, if you would be able to come to my craft room, and yeah, that's not possible, but oh, you would see I have so many things to do. I never get bored. I will call this video a day because, well, I could go on forever and ever and ever, but thank you to everyone who reached out to me and asked me how I was doing. I am doing fine. I'm doing perfectly fine. Despite of the dark weather here in the Netherlands, I keep myself busy. And I now have these daylight lamps to work with and to make more videos. But I can't promise you that I will do 2 videos a week, every week. But I will try 1 video at least. And thank you so much for all your support, all the love you send to me by the little messages and by giving this video a thumbs up. Yeah, I appreciate it so much. And for now, bye-bye from Friesland in the Netherlands. And I hope to see you again. Bye-bye.